Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Hydlide, brought to us by FCI. Hydlide was the first of what would end up being a 5-game series. This version of Hydlide on the NES was actually known as Hydlide Special in its native Japan. Hydlide is a very simplistic RPG which was originally released in 1986, and however did not make it over to North America until 1989. With its poor hit detection, which will cause many deaths in the game, as well as one song that plays from start to finish, this is a couple of the reasons why Hydlide is considered a bad game. Our goal in Hydlide is to defeat Varulus, who has kidnapped the princess and transformed her and broken her apart into 3 separate fairies. These fairies have been spread across the world, so we must find all 3 fairies as well as defeat Varulus to complete the game. Once you begin Hydlide, you will see your status screen on the right and bottom of the screen. You have your life, your strength, experience, and magic. Also, while attacking enemies in the monster square, it will show a picture of the enemy and how much health they have left. You can use your different spells in the game by selecting them using the B button, then going into attack mode and pressing the B button again. Once the game begins, I bring up my menu screen, which you use to load, save, look at your password, look at how many items you've collected, and change your speed of the game. In this game, I'll be playing on the high speed. To attack enemies, you walk into them. When you're in defense mode, you'll do a little bit less damage and you'll take less damage from enemies. When you're in attack mode, this leaves you vulnerable to take a lot of damage from enemies, but you can do more damage to them as well. If you're standing at certain spots on the map, the big green open areas, you can recover your life, which you will have to do often after only taking a couple of hits. Throughout the game, there's going to be tons of monsters that are going to be able to defeat you in only 1 or 2 hits, so you always have to be careful when walking around in attack mode. Begin the game by doing some training, gaining your first 2 levels. Once you reach level 3, move over to the left of where we started, go over 2 screens, and you'll find a chest which contains a cross. We need this cross in order to defeat the vampire. Now head back to the beginning and go to the right this time. Enter the castle by going into the hole. Down here is where the vampire is. Go down to the bottom part of the screen and you'll see him walking around. You cannot walk in front of him or else he'll instantly defeat you. So wait for the right opportunity to attack him in his back. It'll take a few hits, but once he's defeated, a chest will appear. Go down and collect the chest in order to pick up the lamp. This will allow you to see in other caves in the game. Work your way back out of the maze, trying to do your best not to take too much damage from the bats, as they can defeat you. Head up a screen, recover your health if you need to from the vampire battle, and then we're going to head into the cave on this screen. Once your health is fully recovered, head inside the cave. Be very careful in here because there's going to be these wisps flying around. Try to do your best to avoid them or attack them from behind so you can actually defeat them. Work your way around and grab the sword, which will add 1 level to your strength. Now that we have the sword, we're going to head over to the Labyrinth. We're going to have to do some more training to gain 2 more levels before traveling into the Labyrinth to get more items. Right here is probably one of the best spots to train for your next 2 levels. Inside this labyrinth is these monsters, these Hooper monsters, which will only take 1 hit to defeat from behind. Also, you can gain your health back by heading right back outside to that field. Once you've gained your 2 levels, go back inside the labyrinth, and now we're going to work our way around this maze to get to a chest. Inside the chest is a pot, which will open up a cave on another portion of the maze, as you can see there to the left. Work your way back all the way around to the entrance of the labyrinth and head to the right this time. This will allow us to gain access to that cave. Inside this cave, check all the chests until you find a key, but be sure to be careful of the gold armors that are walking around. If you're going to get cornered, use your turn magic, which turns the enemies around and sends them into a different direction. So you can use that to your advantage to avoid any conflicts once inside that area. The opposite end of that cave leads us into the desert area. We head through the desert, ignoring the worms for now, and head into this cave, where there's lady armors and gold armors. Defeat as many lady armors as you can on the first screen until one of them gives you a shield. Once you have the shield, head over to the right part of this section. Once on this screen, defeat gold armors until a chest appears. This may take a little bit because of the way they spawn and that you can't access the entire screen at one time, but you definitely want to be on the upper portion. You can use your wave magic if you have it in order to blast through the walls and defeat enemies. With the wave spell, you can only use it while facing horizontally to the left and right. If you face vertically and use it, you'll still use up your magic, but you won't cast the spell. It may take some time, especially considering you're going to have to wait a while for your magic to recharge, as well as wait for the right opportunities for the gold armors to come around so you can actually defeat them. Once the chest finally appears, be quick to grab it because it can disappear. Inside it is the ring, just one of the treasures that we can collect in the game. With that item collecting done, head back into the desert and gain 2 levels from fighting these worms. It's gonna take a while, and these worms are a real pain because they can defeat you in about 1 or 2 hits. So you gotta be very careful and constantly saving, as well as walking into the green area so you can actually recover your health. Randomly in the desert, though, after defeating a certain amount of worms, the screen will flash, causing this giant worm to appear, and then he'll go back inside. Not exactly sure what that was about, but you do have infinite magic for a period of time. Once you've finally gained your next 2 levels, now we're going to collect some items before we do our last bit of training. Head back through this cave, watching out for the gold armors once again. Then head back through the labyrinth to go back to the very first screen of the game.